Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Before we will begin with the webinar, I would like to inform you that we have activated the Q&A feature for your convenience. You can find the Q&A button in the Zoom bar below. So if you have any questions, just type them there. You can ask questions during the sessions. We have panelists on board, so they will be happy to assist. Some of the questions will be answered live during the session by the presenter. Lastly, we will run 10 minutes live Q&A at the end of this webinar. So if you prefer to keep your questions to the end, you can do so. If you miss anything, don't worry. A recorded version of this webinar will be sent to you in a few days. Okay, so now without further ado, I would like to introduce our presenter, Mr. Maor Efrati, the company Chief Technology Officer. On a personal note, Maor is a brilliant guy who brings with him more than 20 years of experience for cellular communication and global mobile applications. So Maor, the stage is yours. Good luck, guys.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I hope that you're all safe with this crazy time and strange reality. We miss traveling. We miss going to show, we miss going to events and meeting customers. We are doing it mostly on a one-to-one Zoom sessions. And this is a beginning of a new webinar season that we are planning to do when we will have a better direct contact with the customers. We want to hear your opinion and we want to be engaged together with you with the things that we are working on. So today's session will be about 5G, private LTE and IoT security. My name is Maor. I am 45 from Tel Aviv, living and breathing internet and cellular almost all of my life. And I will run this presentation today. As for question and answers, I will try to answer questions while we are between chapters, and if it will not work, we will do it in the end. Okay, 1 second. So when we talk about IoT and we talk about security consideration and challenges that companies have, we map the challenges into few segments. The first thing, and we don't need to even mention how important it is, it's security. Connectivity for IoT device needs to be secure. Connectivity for IoT device is way more sensitive from a human being using his phone, because human being using his phone, I'm not interested for anybody to hack into my phone, but on IoT the situation is different. IoT in many cases is sensitive information, and security in IoT is extremely important. The other thing is that is a big challenge for company deploying IoT is carrier locking. When you deploy an IoT solution today, you are not sure what will happen tomorrow, and you want to have a full flexibility to choose different vendor in case of any situation that will arise. And in IoT, again, is way more sensitive than in consumer, because you cannot ship a SIM cards to a traffic light lamp and expect the lamp to change the SIM card. So carrier locking, the ability to change profile, the ability to change ownership of the SIM cards from remote is also important. Another challenge that we will talk a little bit about today is compliance. Companies are global. Companies that are global usually want a solution that will work globally. But any country, any region have different requirements. Some regions don't want the signaling to leave the country. Other regions might not allow the data traffic to leave the country. There is lots of consideration of who is processing the data, and even more consideration on data at rest, where is the data is resting. And this is another challenge that we try to have a very innovative solutions around it at Monogoto. Another challenge for companies, and especially for enterprise launching an IoT, is how are we playing in the game together with Wi-Fi network, private networks, maybe roaming between different facilities, and how enterprise can utilize the cellular network in the best way. The last challenge, and this is something that we have a complete solution on, and we'll talk about it a lot today, is automation. Automation and APIs is something that is becoming more and more important in creating a supply chain or creating a solution that is very versatile. And a company that wants to have a full automation between literally any component will benefit a lot from this ability in connecting the connectivity and other parts of the platform to the CRM, ERP, or any other back office needs. So most of the focus that we put in the beginning on Monogoto Life is security. We thought that to have a SIM card that will serve cars, cameras, scooters, without the proper security around it can be a pain in the ass. And it is a problematic situation, and in many cases that you can already see in the news, this creates also a big loss of money. So a company that is going to launch a service not only need to consider to have a global connectivity, is also need to consider not to do recall for cars in case of any problem. So let's talk a little bit about our solution and about how we created our cloud. So we are a cloud provider that provides a software stack for connectivity for any operator or any enterprise that needs connectivity. When we map our value proposition, we have 5 pillars that are the main anchor for presenting our advantage or our uniqueness in this market. The first thing is security. When we consider security on IoT, we consider to do it from the network side. There are plenty of companies that are doing security on the chip itself. They are doing all kinds of signatures and all kinds of secure element and other solutions to allow the chip itself to be secure. There are also companies that look for abnormality. But in our solution, the main pillar of our network is to allow the customer to configure his security policy and create some sort of a firewall. But this firewall is not only for the data traffic. This firewall goes beyond the data traffic to binary SMS, to silent calls, to signaling attacks. So because we are a network, we can protect the network from all kinds of malicious traffic and not only from bad data. Example for attack on binary SMS can be to hack into an IoT device by sending him some binary SMS with some special code. And in our network, customer can block it. The second thing that we think it's extremely important is to have global coverage. We can serve literally almost any country in the world, 180 countries as of today. And this is bringing a very good starting point for literally any company that wants to have a solution going forward. We also support companies bringing their own relationships. So if there is a huge company and they already have a relationship with some Vodafone or T-Mobile and they want to bring this relationship, we support that also. The other pillar of our technology, and very important, is automation and API. AWS did it amazingly on cloud computing. Today, when you want to have a service up and running in AWS, you have a full cloud computing to allow you to do that. If you want to scale, you have APIs to do auto scaling. If you want to add another instance for redundancy, you do this also with API and automation. And the last thing that's very important on API and automation is visibility. By us giving the customers API and automation, we also give full visibility for literally anything that happens. Visibility is important because if a device now is starting to transmit too many times, somebody needs to see it. And this somebody usually is not the mobile operator. This somebody is some backend or big data platform that the customer already has. So with visibility and control, we can allow customers to have a full understanding of how the network behaves. Another pillar of our solution is going around signature and cryptographic. We allow customers to store a secure element on the SIM card. Secure element of the SIM card can be beneficial from few reasons. One reason, the bill of material for my IoT device will be less because now I don't need to get a special core for the secure element from my Another thing is that we are separating the life cycle, or we are separating the chip manufacturer from being responsible for the security. And now the security is coming on the SIM card. SIM card security is a proven security for many years already. And so far is a very solid way for customer to store private keys. And the last thing, and we think it's almost the most interesting, we have a whole chapter even in today's presentation around it, is private LTE or private network, and going forward is private 5G. The combination of having a global coverage and also for enterprises, factories, airports, and other campuses to have a private network with all the bells and whistles of a cellular network is a very attractive offer, and we see more and more enterprise customers querying us and talking to us about how they can deploy private LTE in some location and still have one SIM card with connectivity that will serve them in most of the other countries. This is how our network architected. On the left side, you can see the customer can have his own SIM card. We are completely agnostic to the SIM card. The customer can bring a SIM card. We can sell SIM cards. Customer can deploy on eSIM or iSIM. So we are agnostic to the SIM side, but we will allow our customer to connect. We will allow them to connect to multiple operators. We are supporting more than 600 operators in 180 countries. So when a customer of Monogoto have an IoT device, it can connect to usually more than one operator in the same country. In many cases, 3 operators in the same country. So my SIM card with a connectivity to operator A and operator B will get service from the Monogoto cloud. From the Monogoto cloud, the customer can control the behavior because we give self-service and APIs for literally anything. Parallel to that, the customer can also have private network. So this can be a mine, or this can be an airport, or this can be some other private network that a customer creates for himself. And when a customer IoT device is in range of this private network, it will go on the private network. The configuration and the setting and the security will come from the same cloud. If now I'm driving a car and my car is going out of the private network to the public network, I will also be able to get connectivity. It's very important because connectivity from a private network is way more secure. I can treat it as very secure because we allow this connectivity to be a breakout locally to a local firewall. And then in this situation, a local firewall can handle all the security needs for a private network. So I will have a SIM card connected to my private network, break out to the internet from the local firewall without going through any, without going to any operator in the middle. This is very important for enterprise customers, is important for customers that are even serving human being and not only IoT, and big enterprises and factories and customers that have campuses are looking at this technology as a replacement for Wi-Fi. So when we sell solution, we segment our solution to different type of solutions. The main solution that we offer is IoT connectivity. It's starting from a SIM card with a platform and a self-service console and APIs. It's good for startups, it's good for enterprise, it's good for developer, it's good for any company that want to have private and IoT connectivity with a global approach. Second. The second thing that we can offer, I saw a question, it's a good question, I will answer it now. The second thing that we can offer is private LTE. So a company can purchase from us an IoT SIM card, and these IoT SIM cards can roam in 180 countries, and it can be great for some solutions that need global coverage. But maybe I also need the solution to support private network. The same SIM cards, not two different SIM cards, same SIM cards with same profile can be covered also with the private network. And then when I am next to the private network range, the SIM cards will log into this network with seamless, almost seamless transition. I'm saying almost seamless because the SIM cards need to detect a different networking range that is in a higher priority. The other thing that we are selling, and it's not going to be covered in today's presentation, is we have some small service creation platform for companies that need to prototype solutions. Usually it will be some MQTT events, mobile application, and some dashboard to show some, usually for prototyping scenarios. And the last solution that we sell is identity as a service or signatures. It's the ability to add a secure area on the SIM card, and this secure area on the SIM card will be like a HSM. It's great for identity management. It's great also for authenticity of IoT device. So I will take you through some of the platform capability. I maybe will even do a short demo of the platform. The platform is lesson learned from AWS, lesson learned from Twilio, and from other companies that created a platform for developers to create telecom or to create computing projects. And this platform is complete self-service. The customers get his own dashboard. The customer can literally do anything with this platform. Maybe I will switch for a small demo instead of showing you slides. We will show you the real thing. So this is a demo of a customer that is using our platform. Of course, it's me. It's our customer. It's a demo platform. But this is how a customer can manage his devices. A customer can create a group of different projects Each group will have a different number of devices, and this number of devices will be managed according to a special security policy and special behavior. So this can be a group of fuel pumps, and for each group, the customer can create his own policy. The customer can create roaming policy. So if this is a group of fuel pumps, and if I want them only to be available in Spain and on Vodafone, I can create a roaming policy that will behave like that. Again, increasing security, increasing the ability of tailor the service according to the need. The customers have the place to create webhooks for himself. So webhooks can be great to detect problems in the network. Webhooks can be great also to do various other things. We have example of a customer that needs to get the cell ID of the tower that the SIM card is registered for location purposes. The better using cell ID can save GPS, and sometimes you don't need such an accurate location. And what a traditional IoT solution will do is to register the IoT device to the network, to find the cell ID, and then to transmit the cell ID over data connection to the backend. With Monogoto, the customer can just create a webhook. This webhook will send the cell ID automatically to the backend. You can save a lot of time by using profiles that are coming directly from the network. Let's continue. Customer can create his own security policies. Security policy can be production security policy, it can be also staging security policy, and it can be both on the telephony side and also on the IP side. So security policy of my production on the IP side will look like that. I allow only single IP because this is the only IP that I want to be allowed as an inbound traffic, and I block all other IPs. This is how, from the network, I can make sure that my devices are secured. Maybe I'm also worried about the traffic going out of the device. I just want to be sure the traffic that go out of the device is going only to the proper places, that there is no malicious software or any other threat that is already in the device. So also on the outbound, I can create a policy to allow certain rules to take place. And in this example here, on the outbound, I will only allow 2 destinations IP, and all the rest will be blocked. So this is how we enforce security. Networking. Another important thing is how I manage the network. And managing the network, meaning I want to be able to modify the IP pool that I'm using. I want to be able to create my own VPN without the need of talking to the operator, without the need of going through the hassle of proving why do I need a VPN. So customer can create a VPN, download the configuration file from here, and you have your own VPN. Can do NAT translations. In many cases, I'm getting a public IP, and I want that this public IP will be mapped to some SIM card, to some IoT device. It's great to do firmware upgrade. It's great for me to log into the device and check what's going on. But you don't want it to be open always, and you don't want it to be allowed from anywhere. So the customer can create the source IP that is allowing to access the device, the destination IP, the port, and only then this backhaul to the device will be allowed. And of course, that customer can open it and close it with an API to make it easier to manage. Another very important thing that we allow customers to do is create alerts that come from the network. These alerts can be if I decide that I want to know on any device that is transmitting more than 1 megabyte, because 1 megabyte per day is what I'm allowing the device to do. And if the device will do more than 1 megabyte per day, meaning something is malicious there, something is wrong. And I can create this webhook to transmit to any URL. Like in the previous example that I gave, maybe I want to know anytime the cell ID is changed, because I'm doing some IoT device, and on this device I want to save money and I don't want to put a GPS, and it's enough for me to know that the device is in Amsterdam, or maybe I even will know where in Amsterdam. It's great for any company that is doing consumer electronic and they want to know the location of their devices, but it's not need to be so precise as a GPS, and can come from our cloud. So this is another important capability. Let's go back to the presentation. Questions so far, if you have, guys, please feel free to ask and I will try to answer while talking. So the customer have a self-service portal. The customer using this self-service portal can manage the connectivity, can see the usage, can create a network policy, voice policy, SMS policy. The customer have the control on the IP addressing, can create group of different things, and for each group you can define a different policy, different alerts, and different behavior. The granularity of our solution go to all the way to the thing itself, to the SIM card itself. So customer can detect a group of, can create a group of SIM cards and enforce policy, but can also do it on the thing itself. Meaning, if now I have some traffic light or some other sensor in a remote location, and I want to see I want to see where it registered to, I want to see the events, so we allow the customer to see full audit log of everything that happened, including location. And for anything that we show here, there is also an API, and it's critical. Because if you just have self-service, it's nice to have in many cases, but in lots of cases, API is what the customer really needs, because he wants to create a solution that is combined from few platforms, and platforms need API to trigger events or to receive events from our network. So this is a little bit about our core, a little bit about the capabilities. I didn't mention, but we support all the cellular technology, 2G, 3G, 4G, LTE-M, and coming very, very soon, also NB-IoT. So we support all these technologies. We have a platform with a self-service that the customer can manage himself with APIs or with console. And now we'll talk a little bit about our private LTE.
Maor, before you jump to the private LTE section, there are 3 questions in this section.
I'm sorry?
I sent you 3 questions from the audience regarding the.
So there was one question about if our LTE, our private LTE, require 2 SIM cards or not, and the answer is no, single SIM cards, and the customer can choose in the roaming policy to which network his SIM cards needs to get connected. The second question is about our solution globally. Of course, we support global coverage with more than 180 countries. As for on-prem, off-prem, this is not part of the presentation, the deployment modes, but yes, we have several deployment modes. When we'll talk a little bit about regulation, I will talk about local breakout, but we can deploy the platform locally. Today it's in AWS in Europe and in the US. We can also add local POPs in case of customers wants to have some traffic be locally. And in case of large customers, we support a full platform being on-prem. Can you? And there is a question is if someone develop an IoT device, if to go with a tier 1 vendor or to go with an over-the-top solution like us. So the pro and con, to get a SIM card from tier 1 vendor usually will work in one country, and it's usually, even if it's like a tier 1 like Vodafone that have global coverage, it will be part of the group. It will not be so elastic, it will not be so versatile, and it will not be also affordable like going with an over-the-top solution. By us being an over-the-top solution, we are not just using one vendor for SIM cards, we are using for connectivity, we are using multiple, and it gives benefits for customers not to trust on a single vendor. Okay. So we will continue and talk a little bit about private LTE. If my answer were not complete, we are available to continue the discussion offline. We are very excited about private LTE. We are very excited first because we like cellular, that's our experience, and we believe in cellular. We are very excited because 5G is coming, and 5G together with private LTE can heal and can give solution to many situations that were not addressed until today. So in our way of looking at this market, private network is the next big thing. And private network meaning I will be able to have an ultra reliable low latency communication. It's critical for so many verticals, and it's going to happen very soon. We want power efficiency. So there were some kind of solutions based on LoRa and Sigfox that were claiming to give power efficiency. But with today LTE-M and NB-IoT and the efficiency of managed frequency versus an unmanaged frequency, cellular connectivity can get to a very, very good power efficiency on cellular network. And combining this, if we look at literally any parameter, having a private network is more secure, is more scalable, the speed is faster, the authentication is way more solid. The authentication of private key, PKI, on a SIM card is solid authentication, and it's much better than others. And another important thing that private LTE will bring is the mobility. It's not solved in Wi-Fi. It's going to be solved maybe in the future Wi-Fi's, but on cellular, it's already inherent in the technology. And this mobility will allow me to roam between factories, will allow me to roam between different places on the enterprise, and will allow me to have a real roaming scenario also in enterprise. And not to mention the ability to have a single modem with a single technology to roam between local and global network, which is a great capability. The ultra low latency, or the latency itself, is very critical, and on a managed frequency, we can see that the latency that even in LTE versus Wi-Fi is far better, and not to mention 5G. And with the upcoming exciting frequencies of CBRS and other regulators, not only in the US, allowing more and more private networks, we will see a big growth on private network in the coming years. So what are we doing in private network? The traditional solutions around private network is that I'm building a network in my enterprise. I need an HSS, and I need a P gateway, an S gateway, and I need an MME, and theoretically, $50, $60, $100, $200,000, depending on the size of the network that I want to build, and I will have some core. and then I need to learn how to manage the core. We are doing what we call private LTE as a service. We can support a network that will be managed from our cloud, and the customer will only need to bring his own radio, or we can come up with a radio. We have great partners on the radio side. And then the customer can be an enterprise, can be a smart city, can be any stadium or any campus that need a private network, can only deploy the eNode B, and the rest of the management and the rest of the service will be done from our cloud. We can support a few deployment modes here. We can support a deployment mode when the breakout will be locally, so the data will not even leave the campus. And we support deployment mode that the whole EPC will even be locally if needed. The SIM cards will be the same SIM that we are giving today. Again, the customer can come with his own SIM cards. We support eSIM. In the near future, it's going to be also iSIM. And the same SIM cards can be registered to the private LTE network versus or parallel to be registered when there is no private LTE coverage on a global network. So this is the same architecture like I showed before. Our SIM cards can register on a MNO as a backup, but this can be electrical company, it can be a water company, it can be smart city, it can be a stadium, it can be any organization that want to have deployment. In our way of looking at this market and where it will go, for us, the end solution is that even me and my home, I will have a private network, probably 5G node. I will buy an air condition, I will buy a washing machine, or I will buy any consumer electronic. It will come with some SIM cards inside. This SIM card will have a roaming with a global MNO as a, will have a roaming with a global MNO as a backup roaming, but when I will install the washing machine at my home, I will allow it to register on the eNode B. I don't need to go and configure the Wi-Fi of the washing machine. I purchased some air condition with Wi-Fi, and to connect my air condition to the Wi-Fi was like good 20 minutes. It's not just to go and put the serial number of the SIM card and allow him to register. I need to make the Wi-Fi, the air conditioning into a network, and then configure the password, and then with a special application, add him to my network. Cellular can solve many problems on the security, on the management, on the backend, and it's global. And that's where we see this market going to. 1 second, there might be a question relevant.
Yeah, some more. I have several questions from the crowd. The first one, we'll read it out loud. Can Monogoto provide end-to-end solution of private LTE, or you offer only the part of the network?
So we can provide end-to-end solution as private LTE. The end-to-end solution that we provide can come with 3 deployment modes. One deployment mode is a hosted, like you're going to AWS and buying a server. Another deployment mode is an on-prem, but the on-prem have two ways. One way is that the on-prem is a full core. The second way is that the on-prem is just the EPC, or just the P gateway, or just the S gateway, depending the need.
The next question is, can you emphasize more how do you roam between private LTE and public LTE?
Yes, of course. So let's look at this architecture, for example. A SIM card usually, where is my annotation tool? Okay, a SIM card usually will prefer the home network. When you are going abroad, your SIM card is not on the home network. So when I'm flying from Israel to Spain, And when I'm landing in Spain, now my SIM cards can't find my home network, my preferred network, and he will look in a PLMN list to find an alternative network to log into. So what we do, we allow the eNode B to have either alternative or home network solution state on the SIM cards and in our network. So when the SIM will try to register to the first network, maybe, we will see that he's registering from a network that is not in the highest priority. And in the cellular world, we call it steering. We will steer the traffic. We will not allow him to register on this network. And then the SIM will scan again, will find the private network, and then only we will allow him to register. So we do it exactly the same other MNO are managing roaming scenario, only we allow the enterprise to do that.
Several questions that was raised was around security again. If you can emphasize a bit more in terms of security, cybersecurity, what is the difference between Monogoto to the carrier?
Okay. This is the solution for most cases. Also with carriers, there is a SIM card. The SIM cards want to connect to an MNO, and the MNO will want to give an internet. When we use Monogoto solution, our cybersecurity capabilities are a result of two things. One thing is we are externalizing all the events back to the customers. What does it mean externalizing all the events back to the customer? The customer can see if his SIM card is registered. The customer can see that his SIM card is registered and where it's registered. And by doing that, customer can have full visibility at the traffic, and then customer can analyze and find problems in his traffic. We had a customer in the past, he's still our customer, but the situation happened in the past, that his IoT SIM card was transmitting to China, but this customer didn't have any server in China. So what is cybersecurity here? Cybersecurity here is to give him the visibility to see the traffic goes to China. And in traditional tier one, even operators don't give this visibility. So number one on our security capabilities is we visualize the traffic, not only the data. Sometimes the data is being covered by VPN or other services, but we do the same thing for the voice, for the SMS, and for the signaling. So this is the first aspect of our security. We are allowing customers to have full visibility of the traffic. The second thing on our cybersecurity capabilities is the firewall and the network firewall. We allow the customer to have his own firewall, and it's the same capability like a firewall on the IT world. Only in our case, the firewall is for voice, for data, and also for SMS. So the firewall allows the customers to tailor his solution. It doesn't need to put a firewall here on the edge. The firewall can be on the cloud, and it can save a lot of headache when you manage an IoT solution. The last thing that we do on cybersecurity and defense, we don't allow man in the middle. In many cases, if I want to hack this IoT device, if it's very sensitive, like a water facility or some other sensitive location, a man in the middle here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, now, a man in the middle here will be problematic to the MNO to discover, and this is a situation that at Monogoto we will block. We are not going to allow the SIM cards to register to an unauthorized cell. And this is another way of us protecting the traffic. Any more questions? Asaf, any more questions we have?
No. We're 46 minutes after 11. I think we pretty much covered everything. Can you jump to the next slide more? Guys, please feel free to send us more and more questions via all the communication channels or directly to info@monogoto.io. I encourage you to follow our LinkedIn channel and visit our website. You can read the latest news and blog posts that Maorj recently launched. So again, thank you for joining in for today's webinar, and see you next time.
Thank you very much, everyone.